In the UK now, a Prime Minister replacing Boris Johnson is expected to be announced on September 5th. So says Chairman of the Conservative Party's Backbench 1922 Committee. Graham Brady said the 1922 committee, which runs the Tory leadership contest, has decided that the candidates will have to get the backing of 20 members of parliament when nominations open and close today. A threshold is markedly higher than the required backing of 8 MPs seen in the party's usual roles. The first round of voting among Tory MPs will be held tomorrow, Wednesday, saying that the contenders will need to receive 30 votes to enter the second ballot scheduled for Thursday. The number of contenders will be whittled down to 2 before MPs break up for the summer recess on July 21st. The final 2 contenders will then go through a postal ballot of all the Conservative members, numbering around 200,000 over the summer, and the winner will become the new Tory leader and the UK's next Prime Minister. Well, one of those in the race to becoming Prime Minister and head of the Conservative Party is former Finance Minister Rishi Sunak, who set out his leadership campaign pitch today, offering himself up as an honest Prime Minister who would balance the books, reduce the role of the state, and who would grow the economy. Sunak says he's one candidate to replace Mr. Johnson to have a plan for the economy, saying he will tackle inflation before turning to tax cuts. Earlier today, he was met by cheers from a crowd of Conservative lawmakers who are backing him and received endorsements from Deputy Prime Minister Dominic Raab and Transport Minister Grant Shapps, who said he had abandoned his own bid for the leadership.
We need a leader who can win. And the reality is, the polling shows only Rishi can beat Labour. Only Rishi can win with the support of Leave voters and Remain voters. Only Rishi can win in the north and in the south, in the blue wall and the red wall. He's got the economic leadership. He's got the values to bring us all together. And he's the only one that can win.
My message to the party and the country is simple. I have a plan to steer our economy through these headwinds. We need a return to traditional Conservative economic values, and that means honesty and responsibility, not fairy tales.
From staying in the UK, though, but in other stories, multiple Olympic and world champion Mo Farah has revealed he was brought to Britain from Djibouti at the age of 9 and was forced to do housework and childcare in exchange for food. He was revealing this in an interview with the BBC. Farah, who was born in Somalia, said his name had been changed to Mohammed Farahi from Hussein Abdi Khan, Kahin, beg your pardon, the fake travel documents used to fly him to Britain by a woman he had never met before. A 39-year-old said that once he arrived in the UK, the woman took him to her home in Hounslow, West London, and tore apart a paper with the contact details of his relatives. Her family did not allow him to go to school until the age of 12. His physical education teacher, Alan Watkinson, contacted social services and helped him find a foster family in the Somali community after Farah told him what he was going through. I want to bring in immigration lawyer Dayo Fadino to discuss this. Dayo, thank you for joining me on the program today. What would you call well, he's now a Sir Mo Farah's situation? Is it a case of human trafficking?
Good afternoon, Amarashi, and good afternoon to your viewers. Indeed, when Farah arrived in the UK about 30 years ago, and accompanied by an adult he never met in his life. Indeed, that situation was human trafficking, the trafficking of a child, a 9-year-old child. There's always been this case of trafficking from so many parts of the world into the UK. Children, so many minors being brought into the UK. And it was a case some 30 years ago, and it's still the case today. So indeed, the situation was human trafficking.
Well, if he's confessing now, he's making this revelation many years after being brought into the country. If this had happened in light of recent immigration laws in the UK, what do you think would have happened to him?
The current immigration rules and regulations in the UK have been, tightened. In fact, there are more. The rules and regulations, the immigration rules, regulations, and even its asylum rules and regulations are quite draconian these days. There are so many situations where now, as you are quite aware, so many people who claim asylum in the UK today, there's now this plan to now deport them to Rwanda. But as far as children are concerned, if any child is brought into the UK, just like Farah was brought into the UK about 30 years ago, he would still be protected by the state. The rules and regulations are very, very quite clear on this. The guidelines are also very clear that if there's the case that a child has been trafficked into the UK, and it could be proven that that child is a minor, that child has the right they will at least protect that child, either under humanitarian protection, or if it's the case that the child claimed asylum, a child cannot claim asylum, so the child would have to be protected by the state. So, and it's a well-established rule and law that a minor, a child, can never ever actually be complicit in obtaining British citizenship by deception. A minor would always be a minor, particularly if this minor does not even know what's going on. And the state would no doubt have, they are bound under the rule and the law to protect that type of child.
Is it possible to probably trace the woman or find the woman who brought him into the UK, and could she also face the law?
I think the press have actually made attempts to get in touch with this lady. Going by what I read yesterday evening, but she's not just responding to the approaches of pressmen and women. Maybe she doesn't want to discuss or talk about this.
But whose responsibility will it be? Whose responsibility will it be to bring her to justice?
It will be the responsibility of the state. If they could still prosecute her for what she did some 30 years ago. The fact that it's now only just come to light, nobody knew about this until Farah actually started talking about it. So the states could still pick her up and, pick her up for what she did some 30 years ago and prosecute her. If it's the case that it could be proven that this was the woman who actually brought Farah into the UK.
Do you probably wonder why he's talking about this now? I mean, it's been 30 years since it happened.
Yes, 30 years since it happened. My gut feeling, my guess is that I think this very particular matter has been bothering this gentleman for so many years. And the fact that he could actually triumph over this adversity and become a world champion and done so well in his life, that silver lining of him actually now doing so well and being progressive in life, I think maybe he thought that, look, this has been on my mind for so many years. He affected me when I was a kid. And I also suspect that he's now trying to showcase the plight of children who have been trafficked or who have been brought into modern slavery in the UK. And if he felt before he went on air yesterday that with the kind of status he has and popularity he has, he should showcase the plight of so many kids being brought into the UK as minors, and also maybe somewhat make the case in a very, very subtle way that as much as he went through so much adversity when he came into the UK about 30 years ago, he's been able to at least make a good life for himself, and maybe giving the minors and the children who have also been through that same situation hope and to make them understand the fact that if I could actually do this, you could do it too.
Yeah. And now he's being praised for revealing, what happened to him years ago. But could he possibly have broken the law?
Well, when he came in 30 years ago, he was a 9-year-old boy, brought into this country by a woman he hinted that he never knew. And as I stated earlier, a minor, a child, cannot be seen or cannot be prosecuted in any form or in any way for obtaining or be complicit in any way for obtaining British citizenship by deception. It was not his act. It was the act of someone who actually brought him in. If it wasn't for this person who brought this young kid in, there's no way he would have been able to come to the UK. And what would he know? What could he know when he was 9 years old? So indeed, no, at that point, he never actually broke the law. Eventually, I think his teacher was able to obtain his British citizenship for him, I think at the age of 17. Again, at that point, he had to reveal his situation to his sports teacher. Before that sports teacher then took on the matter and approached the Home Office and applied for his indefinite leave to remain and citizenship. At that point, he was also still 17, a minor. So indeed, no, I don't think he broke the law. And the fact that he's now, showcasing what happened to him so many years ago, it's something that we should commend him on, really. And the fact that he could now, openly speak about this and maybe just get this maybe problem or stressful situation off his chest, really, which I think he did yesterday. So I would commend him and not accuse him of being a criminal or breaking the law.
Oh, we're not accusing him. I'm just really interested in his story. Thank you again, Dayo.
I take your point. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure. Thank you. Bye.